Hello and welcome to the Monarchs Friday Focus. Myself, Ray Munsey, joined by Dave Harley as we look back on an excellent victory for the Walk the Fork Monarchs, 49-40 over the Leicester Lions. We'll hear from Leicester's Nick Morris, Monarchs' Josh Pickering, and of course, as always, Heat of the Week. With a little bit bonus footage this week. We'll see 5.5 laps, Dave. Heat number 8, the first run-in, and then the rerun. Dave, we said on the preview show, I was going to say during the week, but we recorded it back on Sunday, so a little while ago now, that this was going to be a tough one tonight. Leicester, of course, reigning champions, a top 5 that on their day, any one of them is good for double figures, and it was going to be tough, and it was a nip and tuck match all the way through, but then maybe unlike the last couple of weeks at home, the Monarchs put that power on at the end, and I guess the best time of the night to have your biggest advantage is after Heat 15, and that was the case. 9 points, meaning Leicester down the road with nothing to show for their efforts.
Yeah, a tight meeting as expected. I'm not saying I'd predicted, because probably everybody predicted that. They're a good team and they've got guys that go really well here, and we've shown that. I mean, I think apart from Ty Proctor, they've all had a win and all trying really hard. Josh Bates even jumping out with a fantastic race at one point, and we actually went from Heat 9 through to Heat 13 without a win. Leicester picked up all the winners there, but finishing in style with fantastic from Josh and Willie in Heat 14, and then even better in Heat 15. Fantastic from the two boys, absolute miles in front in perfect position. Yeah, I mean, the Monarchs just stuck to their task with it. And I said on the commentary on the stream going into Heat 13, obviously the last time Leicester were here back in 2019, the Monarchs won 45-44, and if you'd offered me that before Heat 13, I would have taken it as well. Of course, over the last 3 heats, shared Heat in 13, and then the big 2 5-1s to finish. And 2 fantastic races, albeit Heat 14 was in a rerun, and it was Joe Thompson was the only Leicester rider to beat, but the Monarchs were on a 5-1 in the first run-in, and then again in the last one. Sam out and well, hit that inside line well, and Josh blasting all the way around the outside to join him, and they weren't going to be caught from them. So absolutely fantastic performance, and positives all the way throughout the team. You know, we mentioned Sam doing what he does, 12+1. Nathan Greaves scoring every ride apart from his last one, good battle and performance. Kai Thompson scoring, maybe not, getting out the gate as quick, and we've seen some solid.
mechanical.
And Josh is winning the races. Kai picks up the third places, we get 4 2s. That's give that two times a meeting we're on flying.
And I'm guessing maybe some mechanical issues for Kai tonight, because I noticed it was his third race he was out on a Richie Worrell machine.
Yeah, I believe so,
Richie will probably be the one man that will be a bit disappointed with his performance tonight. A bit unlucky, I think, in his first race. Obviously, Joe Thompson made the start with him and then completely inadvertently straightened up, and that kind of put Richie off, and then it comes down, and then he just wasn't getting to that first bend where he wanted to be. But for me, the turning point and the main man in this score was at the bottom end, and it was Willie Lawson. A strange night in that Heat 2 was probably his worst ride of the season, and I was bemoaning it, but after that, I'm not going to say the Willie Lawson of old. I mean, he was a number one in a league winning team, but it's close to it. Really attacking the track, determined riding, hitting that inside line in a way we've probably not seen since he came back to the sport.
He's not the Willie Lawson of old, but he is the Willie Lawson that we wanted to sign. When we got him back, this is what we were hoped he was going to get to: come and dominate heats 8, 12 and 14, making sure they don't drop any silly points. Hopefully Heat 2 as well. I mean, Heat 2 was kind of a weird one in that Lawler obviously got ahead of him, and Joe probably thought he was quick enough to get past the Thompsons, but ended up kind of blocking Willie as much as anything, and it's not, that's speedway racing sometimes, but for Willie to then come out and look as good as he is, not necessarily making the gates, but being competitive out the gate, and fantastic first and second bends, getting himself ahead. And as you say, that the first run in the Heat 8 when the 2 of the Monarchs went through underneath him was just that was kind of, it was kind of the point where we thought, right, we can go and win this match. We can make up for, as you say, Richie having a night that he would look back on and not be too happy with, but that's what happens sometimes, and someone doesn't make it, someone else stands up, and as you said earlier, we sent Leicester home with nothing, which is fantastic. And
that was the big difference, wasn't it, that if Willie Lawson had put in the performances he put in against Newcastle or against Redcar, we would have lost that match tonight, because we needed that cover for Richie. We got it, and we moved on. And great to see as well, obviously, Josh Pickering, a bad night last week, albeit on a new engine he was trying out, so he went back to the tried and tested engine and back to form. Big 13, and I believe we'll hear from Josh in a bit, he confirmed that I think that's his first ever Heat 15 win at Armadale.
Possibly, and if that's the way the combination I talk about Heat 2, the riders been maybe in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And Heat 15, we've got the riders perfect. Sam on the inside, Josh on the outside. Sam fantastic turning around the inside, and Josh absolutely flying. It would be fantastic to watch. And if I've got a choice between those two and Richie all season, as we've said before, Heat 15 should be good. You've got to keep that going. Yeah. And as I said, it's just as important as well. I mean, you could look and say Leicester maybe deserved a point tonight. Yeah. My dad said that to me after Heat 14. I said, no, let's go and get a 5-1. Let's send them home with nothing, because this is league's here to be for us to get into those playoffs.
Yeah. That's it, and I mean, he was delighted with his night's efforts, was Josh, and I caught up with him after the match. So we'll hear from Josh Pickering now. So Josh, a big performance by yourself, a big performance by the team. Send Leicester home empty-handed. Everyone's happy with that from a home point of view.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. We worked hard tonight. It was good. The bike was great. Ryan was unreal. Everything was it was perfect. I knew I had a job to do today, and I'm happy I fulfilled it.
And from your own point of view as well, I think that's your first Heat 15 victory at Armadale, certainly this season, obviously. So you must be pretty happy to go from obviously that engine you were trying last week and not working to 13 points in the Heat 15 victory. And what a ride it was as well. You got out in that dirt and you blasted around then. I don't think anyone was catching you after that.
No, I felt good, mate. And like Speedway, when things are working, everything's great, and you just can't let bad performances, let you down. Yeah. If you have, 13 points today and you get 5 points tomorrow, something's wrong. You don't turn into a bad rider overnight. I know, mentally that I should be here, and that's the reason why I'm here. So I was happy that everything went good tonight, and it was a good result for the team. And
obviously, you mentioned the team. There was a team performance, but maybe the difference maker this time, Wally Lawson. Back to what we know Wally should have got. I think he was 10, maybe paid for 11, and actually after his first ride, which was probably his worst ride of the season, just a completely different. I don't know if you got a chance to see any of his races, but just attacking the track and just looking fast and so much better.
Nah, proud of Willie. It was good. Like, when you look at it that way, Heat 2 is easiest heat of the night, and for him to get a last there and then come back and get, a couple of wins on the trot, a second, a paid win, you can't ask for much more than that. That's a great result, and it's good to see. Stephen, he's working behind the scenes and preparing Willie's bikes, which is helping a lot as well. Willie's team here of the day, they're all putting in. Everyone's doing what they can to better him, and not only that, we're doing that for the whole team. So it's a great result, and to leave Leicester here, empty-handed, you can't ask for much more than that. On paper, by far, Leicester's probably the strongest team in the league. Considering they're defending champions as well, makes it that little bit harder. But I sort of like to feel I can rise to the occasion when your back's up against the wall, and that's when a real champion comes through.
So great performance by the team tonight, and hopefully carry that on. Obviously, most people will be watching this on Saturday morning, so on to tomorrow, as we'll say, as we're recording this, down at Eastbourne, a track that you enjoy. I think 2 double-figure scores in your last 2 visits there.
Yeah, I haven't even got a chance to ride there for Edinburgh yet. It's both been for Leicester, I think. So, again, I am looking forward to go to Eastbourne. It's a technical track. It's very tricky, but I feel like it. I can suit that place, and as everyone else can see as well, I've been working on my gating, and I'm firing out the tapes a lot better, which is good. And I think tomorrow we'll just go there with a nice level head, feeling good after today's efforts, and I think it could be a very good result for the team as long as we're all firing the same as what we did today.
Perfect. Well done tonight, Josh. Great performance by yourself. Great performance by the team, and all the best for
Thanks very much. My mates back home watching. Cheers.
Rightfully delighted with his night's work there, Josh Pickering, Dave, and a good night's work all round for the Monarchs. If we look at the Leicester side of the pits, I didn't make any predictions before the match points wise. I know I pin you for one every week on the preview show, and you try and pin me back. I made a prediction last week on the stream before the Newcastle match and was solidly, loudly wrong. So I didn't make one night. What I did say before the match though was I felt Leicester would go as far as Ty Proctor and Josh Bates took them. Josh Bates with the 1 heat win, but beyond that, not really putting up much of a fight, and Ty Proctor with a night to forget. One good gate, and then I think the race got stopped. We'll see that in a little bit. But yeah, and that they were always fighting a losing battle from them. The 2 men had not maybe putting in the points they needed, and that was probably what meant Leicester go home with nothing.
Yeah, exactly. As we said already, Morris and Douglas in the middle of the meeting, they're winning races. They've been beating Richie and Sam, and just a little bit of backup with Josh Bates did it in one race, but you've got to do it in more than that. And they even took the Thompson boys at the bottom. They looked good in Heat 2, but really the rest of the points they picked up were because of disqualifications or beating their teammate. So, but whilst they'll look back as something that they've missed an opportunity tonight, but as we've said already, they're a fancied team. Yep. And as Stuart Douglas himself said on the mic tonight, Monarchs, one rider, Stuart Douglas.
Who's he? Is that a pal of yours, Dave?
Stuart Dixon, Monarchs. He said Monarchs are one rider short, which could be a rider in the team of being a top team, and we've shown that potential.
Yeah, one man that did have a fantastic night for Leicester, as he always does, round Armadale, was number 1, Nick Morris. I caught up with Nick after the match. So Nick, good performance for yourself, but I guess just frustrating for the Lions that you just miss it at the end and go home with a point that probably feel like your efforts deserved.
Yeah, I think it was a close meeting all the way through, and it definitely would have been nice to have picked something up at least. But they fought back in the end, and I don't really know. I'm not sure where it slipped. I'd have to watch it back, but yeah, I tried my best to score as many points as I could. Heat 15, I missed the start, and Sam and Pico were fast, so not much I could do. But yeah, all in all for myself, it was a decent meeting, and we'll get the boys going. Batesy working hard and showed signs of what he can do, so that was good. And all the boys battled hard. Dougie had a bit of bad luck as well. Richie laid it down and didn't get up, and he was a bit tense in his first couple of rides. He could have, he really should have had 9 or 10 points instead of 5 or whatever. So plenty of positives, and we'll keep building on it and get better.
And it's a place you love, but I mean, it's not an easy place for some guys to come. So you mentioned that there, 1 or 2 bad races and the heads can maybe go down for the night. So a couple of guys, as you say, that maybe just need picked up before tomorrow's home match for Leicester. Yeah,
exactly. It is a tricky track, and if you don't start the night well here, it can get you down. And I think that might have been what happened with a couple of the boys. And I know Dougie hasn't gone the best here in the past, but he can do, because he was riding well to start with. And yeah, not much to say really. All the boys did good. Yeah. Edinburgh rode well here, so yeah, we'll build on it.
Yeah. From your own point of view, obviously your teammate Will, Sam Masters, a couple of good battles with him. It must be fun to ride against him when you're used to riding for him, with him.
Yeah, it's always nice to race Sam. He's a very fair rider. I've been racing with him around here for a long time, and we've always had good races, always been clean, and that's one thing with Sam, it's always going to be clean, and likewise with me too. So it was fun. The track was a little bit greasy at the start of the meeting with the water, and at the end it was good. So all in all, plenty of positives.
Nick Morris there, quite philosophical about his team's performance, and just saying, and it's maybe been echoed by Stuart in some of his interviews, that there's a couple of guys in there that maybe just need to regroup a little bit and get going, and once they do, Leicester will be right back to where they were in 2019.
Yeah, and they've got a couple of guys carrying injuries as well that were doubtful for the start. I mean, whether Douglas and, as we said already, Douglas and Morris going that strong, you can never discount them. And it was a pretty impressive looking top 5. And they'll go on there. We'll obviously go on Eastbourne tomorrow night and hopefully build on that and maybe pick up some points, because teams are starting to pick up away points now.
Yep, and it was a close night throughout, and that always makes it tense and more exciting. Some tight racing, some close racing, maybe not vintage in terms of passes.
A couple of things that were close, there's a couple of ones where if the race goes on 10 extra laps, we're picking up extra points, but it's nearly fantastic races.
Yep. One heat that did throw up some excitement, and actually it took 2 runs to get there, was heat number 8. Lining up to actually be a fantastic race in the first run-in, and then a very good performance in the second run-in. And you know what, I'm sure our editors will hate me for this, but we're going to show you both of them now. So here's the first run in heat 8, followed by the rerun.
So the important heat number 8, and it's going to be Joe Thompson coming from gate 1. William Lawson with a strange performance so far. He's in gate 2. Can he repeat his last ride? Gate 3 is Ty Proctor, who certainly will be looking for more points than he's got so far, which is none. And in gate 4 it's Nathan Greaves, who's got a couple of good thirds so far, so anything could happen here. I've not been keeping tally, but my impression is there's been a fast start from all of the gates. at one stage or another, so there doesn't seem to be any great advantage. Somebody who's adding it up might tell me different.
Yeah, I think only Gate 2 hasn't had a heat win, but there's been solid scoring, each of the last 2 seconds. There hasn't been a last apart from heat 1 from that gate.
And it's the Lions who've made by far the best start. Here's William Lawson coming up the inside very impressively. And Nathan Greaves as well has got inside Joe Thompson. So Ty Proctor doing what he ought to be able to do in this race, but William Lawson's got him under pressure. And Joe Thompson's come off against the pits gate. That I think will have to be stopped with Joe out there. And that was a fraction before the end of lap 2, so I would imagine that'll be a rerun again. Well, that was an interesting tussle while it was going on. William Lawson looking pretty impressive in second spot.
Yeah, a shame there. Obviously, young Joe coming down, and good to see him straight back up. Albeit, one of the, we all know that
he certainly looks to be fit, but maybe his bike won't be. Lawson and Proctor, and it's Lawson that's gone ahead. Proctor on a big sweep round the outside, looking impressive, almost alongside. Lawson keeps him out. Well, are we seeing the new Lawson here? Proctor's made a hash of that bend, and Nathan Greaves has come past him. He did a diagonal on the third and fourth bend there and left an enormous gap. He's challenging back on Greaves. Terrific ride again by Lawson, and Greaves holds on to that second. And disappointment indeed for Ty Proctor, who led the first time, but he had his chances there and didn't ride well really at all. Home 5-1, that makes a change.
Yes, as Mike said there, a 5-1 to the What the Fork Monarchs. First place in blue was William Lawson, second in red Nathan Greaves, third in white Ty Proctor, and of course there was 3 riders only after Joe Thompson was disqualified after coming off in the first run-in. So the 5-1 to the Monarchs means a combined score of 26 to the Monarchs and 21 to the Lions, a 5-point lead for the home men after Heat 8. Yeah, so a big shame that Joe came down in the first run in there, because actually the 4 of them were ready for an absolute ding dong, that they were all close. You could see Lawson was ready to try and get under Proctor. Greaves and Joe Thompson had a coming together already, and it was going to line up well. But then the rerun, a good performance by the Monarchs pair in that to take the 5-1, and that was a key at that point. That gave us a 5-point lead and gave us that little cushion when Leicester came back strong with the 5 heat wins after that. But overall, it was all in vain for Leicester, and the Monarchs sending the fans home happy. 49-40 the final score, and the first 3 league points at home of the season on the board. So that's 6 points.
Of course, forgetting it was a draw the first match, the red card.
6 points from 3 rides. So we've got one of the Jeeps going behind me that sounds like a 50cc speedway bike.
That's not winning any races,
that's
for
sure. Not making it to Eastbourne tomorrow. Next action for the What the Fork Monarchs is Saturday night at Eastbourne. Live updates will be available on the Monarchs website. Keep an eye out for that. And then next action here at Armadale is next Saturday. Obviously the correct decision not to go up against England versus Scotland in the Euros next Friday, Dave. I believe you'll be making the trip.
I'll be at Wembley, so I'll not be back in time for Saturday.
You got your fairy liquid ready for the Trafalgar Square fountains during the day?
Well, we'll worry about that when we get there. It'll be a fantastic week for Scotland next week, and hopefully we'll continue to be a fantastic week for Scottish Speedway. Bellevue Colts rather than Aces coming up, but that'll be a cracking afternoon in Speedway and a good opportunity for the Devils to, when they got again, they're the sole focus of the weekend for Edinburgh, for As I say, Scottish Speedway, Edinburgh
Yep.
Speedway.
Yep, so we'll be back midweek to preview that. Obviously, you can pick that up on Facebook, on the website, on EMTV as you're watching this, or if you can't make time to watch it or want to listen to us on the go, we do now have the Edinburgh Monarchs podcast, where the preview shows, Friday focuses, will be available, as I said, in audio format, and also look out for some surprises during the season. I'm just working on the technology just now, Dave, to work out how to edit these things on my phone and get it up and running.
Get right one day, won't you?
Oh,
Practice makes perfect, as they say.
Sometimes, aye. Everyone has their day. I'll get there at some point. But yeah, look out for what I'm hoping will be instant reaction from away matches when I can sort that as well, and a few other things to come. So until Wednesday night, when we're back with the preview show, thank you very much once again for joining us, and have a great week. Thank you once again.
Good night.